Hi friends, it's Amber and finally I am back with another writing update. Hello, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Amber. Obviously, I talk about books, writing, and productivity on this channel, and I'm finally bringing you guys a writing update. I know this is long overdue. In case you are a newer subscriber and you're like, what is she talking about? What is she writing? Earlier in 2020, I posted a video, which I will link down below and pop a little thing right here, talking about my writing project for the year. I was working on my first full-length novel. I have wanted to write novels since I was able to hold a pencil, and I've obviously been a book lover for much of my life, and I've always just thought of the day where I can walk into a Barnes & Noble and see a table with a display of books by me with very cute, well-coordinated covers, obviously. So let's get into the update. First, my writing project that I talked about last year, Project R. Most of what I write is contemporary fiction and romance, heavy on the romance sometimes, I guess skewing women's fiction. Those are my favorite books to read as well. So last year I started working on a book, untitled, but I call it Project R, about a young woman who is going through, she's dealing with anxiety, and she's put a lot of herself into her job. And then she finds out that she's no longer going to have that job. I think this is the most I've given you all of the synopsis ever because I've been holding this project so close to the belt. So yeah, that is the premise of the book, and I started working on it last year, and then obviously 2020 happened and I lost a lot of writing momentum. I picked the story back up around November with full plans to do an intense NaNoWriMo, and I gave Nano my absolute best shot. I even tried to vlog NaNoWriMo, so I would be posting writing updates there. And yeah, I don't know what happened. I mean, I do know what happened. The holidays happened, pandemic happened, just everything happened. I ended up switching jobs in November, so it was just a lot. And I didn't make the progress that I wanted to, but my goal was just to keep pushing and get to like the 35 to 40,000 word mark by the end of the year. If you were following my channel in December, then you will know that I got sick with Rona in December, and obviously that took a lot of my writing momentum. So honestly, when I came back to my writing in January, I really sat down and I read what I had written, and I looked at my outline and I realized, like, I don't know the middle of this novel, like, and I'm still fuzzy on the ending. Like, I'm so clear on the beginning, but I wasn't really confident in how I was gonna get my main character to where I need her to be, where I want her to be, and I need to spend more time thinking and brainstorming about all the things that need to happen to her to become the kind of person that I want her to become. I've spent so much time getting clear on who she is at the start of the book. I haven't really thought as much about who she needs to be at the end, and that is the journey, right? That's what we sign up for as readers. We think we're getting a character who's starting here, they're gonna end up here, and we get to watch the process of them growing and becoming themselves. Like, that is literally the promise of the premise, as all the craft books will say. So what does that mean right now? Right now, Project R is not on the back burner, but on the side burner. I'm working on a lot of notes and re-outlining the project. I basically am a big plotter, and I just need to know, even if I don't have every chapter outlined, every scene outlined, I just need the track, so I can at least start writing and feel comfortable about where I'm going. And if I change course, once I know the track, I'm fine with that, but I just need a little bit more runway. So that being said, I've gone back to the basics. I definitely have been reaching for Save the Cat Writes a Novel a ton. You all know that book is like my go-to in terms of craft books and writing guidance. Like, that gave me so much clarity when I first started attempting to write a novel, because I really didn't know anything about writing a novel. I definitely didn't know what I was doing, and it just made me feel like there was really not a formula, but a foundational layer to start at, so I could just build on that. So definitely reaching for Save the Cat all the time. But I've also been spending a lot of time in the making of a story, and this is one of the most helpful resources I've picked up probably in 2021. You can see I have lots of page flags and tabs of things that I have used and gone back to, because this book is just so incredibly helpful. Like, if you're looking for a writing resource that's going to give you exercises and notes on structure and how to build plot and characters and dialogue. Dialogue is something that I really struggle with, because I feel like I don't know, I think about myself as a reader. When I'm reading dialogue, I want it to feel like a real conversation. I want it to be able to read a passage of two characters talking and feel like I'm not reading it, I'm listening to them. So I put a lot of pressure on myself in the dialogue arena, and I think sometimes I just overthink it, but this has made me feel like, okay, no, there is a way to approach dialogue that can feel really, really good. Yeah, that's Project R right now. It's still one of the most important projects to me because my main character is so important to me. And I've changed some things about her, some things I think that I realized I was packing a little bit too much onto her, but I still love her and I want to bring her to life, and I plan to bring her to life. So right now I'm not putting a ton of pressure on myself, but I do want to be back in the drafting stage by October. If you follow me on Instagram and you've seen us talk about this, we did a whole video on IGTV about it, but my friend Phoebe and I are co-writing a young adult / new adult novel together. So there's not a ton that we're saying about it just yet, but I can give you a couple of the juicy details. So it is a dual perspective novel. I'm writing from the perspective of one character and Phoebe's writing from the perspective of our other main character. The two characters are cousins, they're related, but they have been separate, grown up really separate because of an ongoing conflict with their parents. So the two of them get forced into a situation now where they have to get to know each other, and both of them have grown up so differently but also are very different young women. The character that I'm writing, we're not saying the character's full names, but I'll tell you her first initial is N. And N is probably the most fun character I've ever attempted to write, period. She is very strong-willed, she's very stubborn, she's young, but she thinks that she's wiser than she is. She thinks that she just knows best. Her way is the way, regardless of people who actually know better helping her or trying to help her do better. She's incredibly creative. Her dream is to make documentaries, and the reason why she's so interested in filmmaking is because she has always, for her entire life, just wanted to be able to control her own narrative. She wants to write her own story. She wants to be the one that is telling what happened, because she feels like if I was there, who better to tell my story but me? Because of her family's past and her past, so there have been a lot of people who have tried to tell her story for her, and she just wants the freedom to be herself and shape her own narrative once and for all. So her dream is just to get to New York, go to film school, and become a documentary filmmaker, and in the meantime she's been making films and sharing them online. The process of writing this novel has been so incredibly fun, but I also think it's been just great to write with someone else because there's that accountability factor. So Phoebe and I meet every single Friday and we review the last few scenes that we've written. We give each other feedback. We go back to our outline, look for any gaps or holes in the project, talk about things that we want to come, make sure we're both like on the same tone, that we're following the same timeline. We also do a lot of research for this project. So we talk about a lot of documentaries and articles, and I've watched so many videos in the past maybe month, I guess, we've been working on this. You can just see when we're working on this project, our faces light up and we're so excited and so happy. And it's just reminding me that I love writing and I love building characters and telling stories. Like, is it V. Schwab who always says, I tell lies for a living? It just makes me feel so much like my writer dreams are attainable because I have so much momentum for the project. And I was feeling really sad and disappointed about the way that Project R had not been finalized and put away like I wanted it to be by this point, but this has just been a reminder that sometimes it's the right story at the wrong time. And I do think that Project R is a little bit of the right story at the wrong time, but the project I'm working on with Phoebe is definitely the absolute right project at the right time with the best writing partner I could have asked for. So yeah, I have found that the making of a story has been really helpful in that project too, especially because I've never written a dual POV story before. I don't think Phoebe has either, or her solo project might actually be multiple POV, but it's definitely harder to write with two different writers who have very similar styles but different voices, and trying to match the characters' voices and the overall story tone. So I've been reaching for this a lot on that as well, just because there's so many helpful tips in here and exercises. I want to share just 2 exercises that I've done from this book that I thought were so helpful, that could be helpful to you if you're also working on a writing project and feeling a little stuck. So the first one is called emptying pockets, and this is an exercise to help you get to know your characters. So basically you pick whatever character you're working on and you write down a list of everything you would find in their pocket on any given day. I think it's fair to say that you could tell a lot about a person based on the things that they carry around as everyday objects. So you'd be amazed at what what you can learn about your character just by doing this really quick exercise. Here's one of the examples of a list of pocket items from the book. Character A, Walgreens brand naturally neutral lipstick, half gone. Solar calculator. Mini screwdriver, Phillips head on one end, slot edged on the other. Crumpled shopping list containing the words eggs, non-fat milk, super glue. 3 ATM slips showing $20 cash withdrawals 3 consecutive days. A roll of fresh mint certs unopened. Fortune from a Chinese fortune cookie that reads, keep those dangerous plans secret for now. And then the second exercise is called sins of commission, sins of omission. So the goal here is to learn more about your character by finding out what he or she has committed, what sins he or she has committed, while simultaneously discovering what they think is a sin. So the bad things they've done versus what they think the bad things they've done are. So the sins of omissions are the things that he or she didn't do, and the sins of commission are what he or she did do and things that are on their conscience. Sins of omission: didn't acknowledge sister's distress when I called her last Sunday. Pretended the dog was peeing on the carpet and that I needed to hang up when it seemed as though she was about to say something serious. Sins of commission: left the Sunday New York Times in disarray even though my husband hadn't read it yet. Sped up and refused to let an elderly man merge into my lane on 101 even though he was signaling correctly. Threw away my neighbor's mail that was put in our mailbox by accident. Like, you can tell so much about your characters through that exercise, and also it's just very fun to do when you're people watching. So yes, I will link this in the description box, but if you have not picked this book up yet, I definitely recommend it. Another thing that's been helping me, especially in my project that I'm working on with Phoebe, is handwriting my scenes. I am, you know, notebook obsessed, so I picked up a bunch of these Midori notebooks that I ended up covering with just some decorative paper from Paper Source, and then I put these clear covers on them to protect them. This one is graph paper, and I have just been keeping everything in here. I've been keeping my research, my notes, exercises from the making of a story, and I've been handwriting a lot of scenes. And for me, I think it just helps to, one, not be distracted by the internet, because how many times do you sit down to write and then somehow always end up on Twitter? It doesn't make any sense. So there's no distractions, no tab, no internet, but also it kind of lets me just like think freely, where when I'm typing, I feel like I have to work very linearly. That's how typing works. You type a line at a time. But when I'm handwriting a scene, I can kind of like start a paragraph, write some thoughts on the paragraph, and then jump around a lot more easily. And that's just been really helping me move things along and not get so stuck in a scene. So if you're struggling with writer's block, give handwriting your scenes a try. Just make sure you have a notebook that you really like writing in. This is a great writing notebook. The paper quality is amazing. There's no bleeding, very minimal ghosting. I've written with a lot of different gel pens and fine liner pens with no issue, so Midori notebooks are where it's at. I'll link those in the description box as well. And yeah, that is the writing update. I feel like this is so overdue, but it feels good to be letting you guys know what I'm working on, what I'm not working on, what I wish I was working on, what I wish was done. And yeah, I want to hear from you, whether you're writing fiction, nonfiction, or doing a different project. Let me know how your progress is shaping out in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below. Let me know what's going on with you, what you're working on. If you made it to this point in the video, put this emoji in the comments and tell me one of your favorite main character or story tropes. Thanks so much again for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.